Hello everyone, welcome. Today we're going to talk about something really important for all of us, and it's the Code of Student Conduct. Think of it as your school's rule book, and knowing it helps us all have a safe, fun, and successful school year. As you may be aware, there were several laws that passed this past summer and went into effect on July 1st. As a result, we had to revise our Code of Student Conduct to align with those new laws. On September 10, 2025, the School Board of Miami-Dade County adopted the newly revised Code of Student Conduct. At this time, we are in need of you going back home and reviewing the Code of Student Conduct with your parent and guardian. When you have completed reviewing the Code of Student Conduct with your parent or guardian, please complete the Acknowledgement of Receipt form by both signing your names and return it back to your school and give it to your teacher. Where can you find the Code of Student Conduct? You and your parent or guardian can find the Code of Student Conduct by typing in the URL address bar codeofconduct.dadeschools.net, or you can also access it from the student portal, the parent portal, the community portal, and for those teachers and staff members, they can access it in the employee portal. The Code of Student Conduct is divided into 4 sections. Chapter 1 has important information for students, parents, and guardians, including the core values. Chapter 2 has the list of behaviors that are not acceptable at school, along with the range of corrective strategies that can be implemented when you violate the Code of Student Conduct. And in Chapter 3, it talks about your student rights and responsibilities, another very important chapter. And then finally, in Chapter 4 is the student resources. We have the Fortify Florida flyer in there, and we also have the Navigating Mental Wellness, Help is All Around You flyer as well if you ever feel like you need some help. Did you know that in Chapter 1 of the Code of Student Conduct, the core values are listed? There are 9 core values that are noted in this section of the Code of Student Conduct: citizenship, cooperation, fairness, honesty, integrity, kindness, pursuit of excellence, respect, and responsibility. These values are not just for school. They're for everywhere you go, at home, in your neighborhood, and beyond. They help you make good choices and be a great person. I challenge you to practice them each and every day. In Chapter 2 of the Code of Student Conduct, we begin to look at behaviors and the corrective strategies or actions that can be taken when you violate the Code of Student Conduct or misbehave. Level 1 are disruptive behaviors. They're the least serious behaviors of all of the behaviors listed in the Code of Student Conduct. And when you receive or you are given corrective strategies or corrective actions, the intent is to help you correct the misbehavior and hope that you are able to learn from your mistake and do better the next time. Level 2 behaviors are seriously disruptive behaviors. They're more serious than the Level 1 behaviors. Level 3 behaviors are more serious than Level 1 and 2. These are behaviors that are offensive and harmful to others. Think of things like hurting someone or causing a lot of damage on purpose. Because these behaviors are so serious, your principal or assistant principal may need to contact law enforcement. The actions taken to correct these behaviors are also much more serious and could also result in criminal penalties. Level 4 behaviors are dangerous or violent. They are much more serious than the Level 1, 2, and 3 behaviors. They will also require your principal or assistant principal to contact law enforcement to consult with. The actions taken to correct these behaviors are also much more serious and could also result in criminal penalties. Level 5 behaviors are the most serious, most dangerous, and most violent behaviors. They are behaviors that are violent and put people in a lot of danger. Because these actions are so serious, principal and assistant principals must call law enforcement right away. The consequences for these behaviors are also very serious and can lead to criminal penalties, which are punishments given by the judge not just by the school. So let's quickly go over what are some of the new revisions that have been implemented into the Code of Student Conduct. They are cheating on standardized tests has been added to level 3. Expulsion has had a change. Wireless communication devices has had a change. Alternative education setting has had a change. Denial of bus privileges for trespassing has had a change. And denial of participating in social and/or extracurricular activities has also had a change. And the section on search and seizure and the student rights and responsibilities has also had a change. It is so important that you review this Code of Student Conduct with your parents so you are all up to date on all of the changes and the current practice on following school rules. In the next section, we will be discussing those behaviors that are part of the zero tolerance law. Zero tolerance, the Code of Student Conduct Level 5, threat and intimidation. A threat is also known as an assault or false report. So if you make a threat against officials or employees, against any school district property, including school-sponsored transportation activity or function, zero tolerance policies must require students found to have committed one of the above-mentioned offenses to be expelled with or without continuing educational services from the student's regular school for a period not less than 1 full year, and to be referred to the criminal justice or juvenile justice system. A threat is a statement of intention to inflict pain, injury, damage, or other hostile action on someone. It could be direct or indirect. Threats can be spoken or gestured. Bringing or possessing a firearm or a weapon to school, to any school function, or onto any school-sponsored transportation is part of zero tolerance. Zero tolerance policies must require students found to have committed one of the above-mentioned offenses to be expelled, with or without continuing educational services from the student's regular school for a period of not less than 1 full year, and to be referred to the criminal justice or juvenile justice system. Now we're going to talk about off-campus felonious acts. Did you know that the Code of Student Conduct also applies to students who commit felonies or delinquent acts, which would be felonies if committed by an adult, off school board owned property, or whose off-campus conduct creates a substantial disruption to the school environment? Also, off-campus conduct and conduct outside of school time that violates the district's Code of Student Conduct may also be the basis for discipline up to expulsion if it is accomplished through electronic means and subsequently disrupts the educational process or orderly operation of the school. And finally, off-campus conduct that poses a threat or danger to the safety of other students, staff, school board members, any other members of the school district community, or school property may constitute behavior that has a substantial adverse impact on the educational environment, requiring disciplinary action. Another important part of the Code of Student Conduct is Chapter 3. This is the Student Rights and Responsibilities section of the Code of Student Conduct. Your rights are the protections that you have at school. They make sure you're treated fairly and have a safe place to learn. For example, you have the right to a good education and to be in an environment where you feel safe and respected. Your responsibilities are the things you need to do to help everyone at school have a good experience. Things like following the rules, respecting your teachers and classmates, and trying your best in class, all are part of your responsibilities. Think of it like your rights and responsibilities are a package deal. To have your rights, you also have to be responsible. They go hand in hand to make your school a great place for everyone. All right, everyone. We have reached the conclusion of our presentation. Let's quickly go over what we covered today about our Code of Student Conduct. Think of the code as your school's playbook. It's not just a list of rules to get people in trouble. It's a guide to keep you all safe, ready, respectful, and responsible. Following it makes your school a great place to learn for everyone. Remember, the most important thing you need to do now is go home and review and read the Code of Student Conduct with your parent or guardian. Make sure you both sign that acknowledgement of receipt form saying that you understand the rules, and then bring it back to school to your teacher. By knowing and following the Code of Student Conduct, you are helping to make your school a safe, fun, and awesome place to be. Know the code, know the rules. Thanks, everyone.